Netanyahu is meeting his lapdog for the seventh time now, the seventh time since Trump took office. He's going to be meeting him this upcoming month. Netanyahu's trip is expected from February 18th to the 22nd, including, of course, a speech at the AIPAC policy conference and White House discussions. Of course, going to be speaking to his propagandists in the United States, his foreign agents in the United States, the AIPAC lobby. It follows frequent meetings since January 2025, covering the Gaza ceasefire and everything else. So Netanyahu's office also talking about the Board of Peace. So people online, of course, are Benjamin Netanyahu to visit Trump next month for unprecedented seventh visit of second term. This MFer comes more often than a moon cycle, and people are joking about it. So I wonder what this visit could be about. Trump again bypasses U.S. Congress to push $6 billion in weapon sales to Israel. Totally bought out. Totally bought out. So after while I'm reading this, I saw this other article that just came out a couple days ago that I thought I'd share with you guys. This is, of course, an Israeli media. This is the Times of Israel article posted on the 29th. So just a couple days before, or just the day before the Epstein files were released, interestingly enough. Day of. Prime Minister holds briefing on classified topic as Trump's decision on Iran strike said expected in days. So Trump is making a decision to whether or not to strike Iran. Netanyahu's going to be visiting Trump next month. And before all of this, Netanyahu's figuring out something with the Mossad, something with Israeli officials on what? How to force Trump to strike Iran, how to get Trump to strike Iran. Because Netanyahu's, ruling in the background at the idea of Iran being bombed by American airstrikes. And he's figuring out how to navigate this and what to do. And Israeli media are just kind of bragging about the fact that Netanyahu's figuring out ways to manipulate the United States president. That's basically what the article is saying here. So the article goes on and it says Israel reportedly expects significant strike against it if Iran attacked. IDF intelligence chief in Washington for talks. Netanyahu was holding a security consultation in Jerusalem with top advisors and defense officials on a, quote, classified topic. The office of one of the attendees told the Times of Israel on Thursday, as speculation continued to swirl whether or not the U.S. will attack Iran. According to Channel 12, the discussion was focused on Iran and the possibility of an American airstrike, which U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened. The meeting comes after a flurry of threats, discussions, and diplomatic activity in Jerusalem, Moscow, and Tehran surrounding the possibility and possible fallout of a U.S. strike on Iran. Iran is prepared to show its naval force next week after the U.S. moved what Trump called a massive armada into the region. So, you can only imagine what they could be discussing here when it comes to why in the hell is Netanyahu having this secretive meeting? And this is actually, one of you guys just commented this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. They're definitely blackmailing Trump to get their war with Iran. Absolutely agree, Fraser. This is exactly what's going on. I saw on X, somebody posted, don't be fooled, everybody. The reason that the Epstein files were released the day that they were is because it's basically a slap in the face to Trump saying, hey, Trump, this is just a taste of how bad things can get if you don't follow through with these strikes on Iran. Now, I don't really have the evidence to prove that. I mean, aside from just like what we can speculate, because ultimately it's the Department of Justice that decides to release a file under Pam Bondi. So I would assume that it would still kind of be his call. But who's to say? Maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes when it comes to the release of the files, somebody else holding on and kind of making the call, making the shots. At this point, nothing's off the table. At this point, the system is so corrupt. I really have no trust in it whatsoever. I think anything could really be going on in the background, and we'll never know. The article goes on further, and it says a potential directive from Trump on a strike is expected in the coming days once all of the U.S. military assets heading to the Middle East are in place. Iran has repeatedly threatened to strike U.S. targets and Israel if the U.S. attacks. Trump's goal in the strike and how he hopes to achieve it remain unclear. They think he is reportedly wants to create the conditions for regime change. Israeli officials do not believe that a limited U.S. strike will bring down the Iranian regime. This is what I don't understand. What the hell do they think's going to happen if there are US airstrikes. I mean, they're saying publicly, we don't think limited US airstrikes are going to overthrow Iran, which means they don't want limited US airstrikes. They want a total war. They want America to be in a total war with Iran. They don't want America to just do 10 or even 15 airstrikes at these specific places. They want actually America to mess up Iran, do a total, complete annihilation of Iran to bring about regime change. The Israelis want to push America in. It's not just that the Israelis want America to do a limited airstrike. They want to shove us in there and do a regime change overthrow. Here's the thing. People have repeatedly stated, a lot of geopolitical analysts and also people within former, U.S. military officials have stated that, first off, Reza Pahlavi is a joke. He's not going to actually be able to hold office. He's not that popular within Iran. I think less than 30%. Whenever that was on a poll I read, except a lot of people in the comments and a lot of Iranians were saying it's actually way less than that. So there is no actual alternative, and Americans know that. The U.S. officials know there is no actual alternative, which is one of the reasons why there is hesitancy in doing this, because if there's no viable alternative, what the hell does that mean for the day after? What does America think is going to happen the day after? If there's no viable alternative, then you basically are putting a country into, you're putting, there's a higher likelihood that you would end up seeing ISIS flags in Iran if you just completely bomb and flatten the country and destroy it. There's a higher likelihood there's going to be a power vacuum just like Iraq, but much worse than anything we can imagine if the United States decides to go to war with Iran. And that's one of the main reasons the United States has refrained from doing that, because they realize that there is no actual alternative, and it's on the people to decide who they want to put in at power and who they want to remain in power. And if American interventionalism tries to do that, well, ultimately what we could end up getting is something much worse than what is in place right now. Something much worse. Israel, though, doesn't give a damn. Israel does not give an absolute shit. Israel has no problem destroying Iran, allowing Iranian people to just be wiped off the map. Israel doesn't care, because ultimately Israel's only interest is itself. Israel doesn't care about America either. That's what's really important. You think Israel gives a damn about America? Absolutely not. They use America insofar as which America can move forward Israel's priorities. I mean, Israeli media was already reporting, and they've been reporting on this repeatedly now. They talk about how the Israelis are saying it's time for us to, shift our focus to Asia. And the West is already a dying, the West is already a dying entity. It's a dying nation. We have to focus on the next global superpower, which is coming from Asia. That's what Israeli national news said recently. They only use the United States, and they're only allied with the United States insofar as America is a global superpower. And if America ever happened to not be a global superpower, Israel would then unleash itself from the United States like the parasite it's acting like the parasite it is, and leech on to the next global superpower. This is how Israel operates. So when you see Netanyahu coming to the United States, make no mistake, it's because of the fact that the United States is the most powerful country, and he's using the most powerful country to his advantage, just like a Trojan horse. AIPAC is basically a Trojan horse in the United States for the advancement of a foreign country. So that's it for this video, guys. If you want to see more of my channel, I'd appreciate it if you join as a member too. It's like $5 a month if you get the lowest membership, and I put a ton of videos out for members only, about one a day. So if you want to support my channel, I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.